Hello all and welcome to Coffee with Marci. Whether you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, CEO, looking for a job, or need help keeping a job, you'll want to listen to what today's guest has to say. In November, Smart CEO magazine named Executive Life and Career Coach Susan Ascher, founder and CEO of the Ascher Group, one of the region's top 40 successful CEOs. Thank you so much for joining.
So excited to meet you, Marci.
It's great to have you on the
you.
show.
Thank you.
And everyone is going to benefit so much from what you do.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us the time.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
So I want to find out what prompted you to become an executive life and career coach.
Well, believe it or not, I couldn't, after I sold my company, after 25 years of loving finding people jobs, helping them write resumes, introducing them to companies, and just being crazy about what I did, the market really changed. And you know, one of the things that I always coach people on is change. Whatever you're doing today, get ready, because in a few more years it's going to change again.
Yeah, and people aren't comfortable with that.
Right, they're not comfortable, but hey, look what's happening with Sam's and with Costco.
Yeah.
Sorry kids, but they're not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
I mean, Amazon's going to take that over, but we have to continually figure out ways that we're going to change with the marketplace, and that's what I had to do. So when I sold the company, because I was no longer happy throwing resumes into the big black hole of the internet, writing RFPs galore, and becoming a commoditized business, I said, you know what? It's time for me to change something. And so what I did is I went out and I hired an executive coach.
Yeah.
And because I had spent so many years and was very successful in the field, and you know, was really a forerunner in a lot of things, including the contract staffing field, I went ahead and I worked with her for over a year. And one day I said to her, I want to write my first book. And as I started to talk about that and what I wanted to do, she said to me, Susan, don't you see what you should be doing? And I said, what? And she said, you've been coaching people your whole life.
Yeah.
Now you're going to turn that into coaching people within industry. You're going to be able to coach. You have been a CEO. You know what you had to do to coach yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to coach other CEOs. You had to coach a team.
Yeah.
You had 200 people working for you.
Yeah.
You had to draw them together and accomplish things. You know how to do all this. Duh.
Yeah.
That was my duh moment.
Yeah.
And
Or aha.
my aha moment, that's right. And so I started on that path, and you know, it's another story, but I essentially had an introduction that I had made for someone else to a major hospital system in New Jersey. And always doing things for other people, which is who I am. I had introduced this person. She did not receive any business from this, but 2 weeks after the meeting, I got a call from the head of their HR department saying, we have 400 nurses, patient coordinators, and staff who definitely need coaching, and we want to do it around your first book. Dude, seriously, it's not all about you.
Yeah.
Because it's all about protocol and manners and making people feel good, and you know, just being with people.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your books.
Yes.
Of course, you have a couple of books here. So since you brought them up, I want to talk about these.
Okay.
So Dude, Seriously, Get Your Ass in Gear, and Dude, Seriously, It's Not All About You. This was your first book.
Yes.
Yes.
And this book, you know, was amazing. It's my rant on, I hate to say bad manners, because manners is like, it's not even a word in our language anymore, is it? But protocol, it's really treating people the way you wish to be treated.
Yes.
Do you wish to walk down the street and be knocked into by somebody whose head is down looking at their cell phone? No, you don't wish to do that, do you?
Right.
But yet you'll do it because you're in a hurry, or you're busy, or your mind is somewhere else. So little things like that. But I started with very simple chapters like, please, thank you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, 3 of the most underutilized phrases in our world today.
I think a lot of us could be reminded of that, yes.
Right, and they actually had to do exercise, you know, nurses in the hospital, regardless to the patient, please. And it's just not nurses, and I'm way beyond just that, but it was a great stage for really my first coaching assignments. And at that time, I had tremendous success with them. They weren't really happy having a coach, a lot of these people, because they had to change.
Yeah.
But once they did, their scores actually went up by 30%, which was huge in that particular environment. Those are the scores that align with the remuneration that the government gives to hospitals based upon their service level. Like when you go to a hotel like the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons, you fill out a card. Same thing. So, and that really propelled me. I just got so juiced from that, and I just saw like little tiny things. And even today, Marci, and I'll tell you this, and now you're going to notice it. You're in a restaurant, and someone will say to the waiter or the waitress, "I'll have another cup of coffee." What does it take to say, "May I please"?
Right. Absolutely.
We're all human beings. We have forgotten that human connection.
Absolutely.
And that's what a great CEO, that's what a great leader knows. They know that treating people the way they want to be treated is important, that good manners never go out of style.
And I would think that you have a much better work environment.
Absolutely.
I mean, just everything that surrounds you would be better. I mean, because now people are treating you as you would like to be treated.
Exactly.
Yeah, so very cool. So let's go on with your coaching.
Yes.
So what have you learned about CEOs through your coaching?
I have learned that they do not live in silos, as I sometimes think they do, meaning they cannot be the CEO with a certain personality at work and then go home and change that person. They really need to, or change at a cocktail party. And we know this about people. So it's like when you meet a new person, a friend, and you say you really like them or something, and then they go in front of somebody else and they're a whole different person.
Right.
So what I've learned in coaching these people is that trying to change the behaviors that are going to make them better people overall, not only with their teams and with their subordinates and with the people that are their colleagues, but also when they come home to the family. I had somebody like that recently, and they hired me because he had to get rid of some of his abrasiveness, and he actually gave me examples of how he would yell at his child on the soccer field for not doing this and not doing that, and his wife. But he carried this over into the office, and he had to change that behavior entirely.
Right.
Yeah, and he was a terrible listener. You know, and we talked about that earlier.
That is a difficult thing for a lot of people to do, is listen. Because they have so many things going on in their head, it's just, they can't, it's almost like they don't shut it off to hear what you're saying. And there's like a lot of important things coming from, we can learn a lot from people around us.
And also, and I'm very careful, even when you just spoke, people are so interested in answering what you've said or talking over you, that my thing is always listen, pause, and then speak.
I like it.
Whether you're being interviewed for a new job, whether you're meeting somebody new, whether you're at a cocktail party, make people feel important.
Yeah.
Make
I
people
like
feel
that.
important.
So what do you see that most people struggle with? I mean, we've touched on quite a few things, and anything else?
Well, I think they struggle with it's not okay for you to do it, but it's okay for me to do it. Do as I say, not as I do. I see a lot of that, and I think they struggle with certain things. So they struggle if they're looking for a job. They struggle with how to interview, how to dress, how to do a resume, all those basic things.
Yes.
But a lot of times, if you're looking at an executive, they are struggling with their executive presence. And executive presence is not just how you look, because that's very important,
Of course.
but it's also how do you treat other people? Do you follow up? Do you speak up? Do you listen up? Do you do all of the things that are really the tenets of executive presence? That's what's going to lead you to a higher ground in your job and potentially to the C-suite.
Right.
It's not just that you're the best. I say this to people at networking events where you have 3 or 4. You talked about your financial advisors, your wealth managers that you met. Essentially, you're going to hire the person that you like. So likability is huge. It's not that you're the best accountant.
Right.
It's that you're the most likable.
Right, because we are humans and we want to attach to somebody, right? Connect with them.
And have them take care of us in an area that we're not familiar with.
Yes. Absolutely. So how is it that you help solopreneurs and entrepreneurs?
So what they generally for the biggest thing that they struggle with is business development, flat out business development. And what I mean by that is you'll have somebody starting a business and they'll be more concerned about what their business cards look like
Yes.
and what their website looks like. And I'll go back to that hospital system that I did all the work for.
Yeah.
When I introduced that other person, I still had my Premier Provider of HR Contract Professionals card with no collateral materials. The book wasn't even written yet.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah.
And after she did her presentation, they turned to me and said, "What about you?" And I said, "Well, I'm this, and I'm starting with my executive coaching." And I didn't have a card. I had me. And that's the other thing people forget. 90% of so I work with them on their communication. So it's not just the verbal, but 90% of what we communicate is what people see.
Yeah.
And so it's important when you walk into a room, are you polished? Are you presentable? Do you look like someone that I would want to do business with?
Right.
And then the biggest other thing for solopreneurs and entrepreneurs is business development. If you're not developing business, you're not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? And how do you network? And networking is not going to an event and saying, "I'm Susan Ascher, I'm an executive coach, who do you know?"
Right.
It's, "Marci, tell me about yourself." We did this earlier, and how did you start in this, and what did you do? And that's what people forget. When you give something to someone before you get, it's just a world of difference. And so in my second book, at Your Asking Here, I talk about go-getters and go-givers.
Yeah.
So we want to be go-getters on some level. We've got to be go-getters and get things done, but not just get. Go-givers are people that, here's what I'm always gonna work on finding what I can do, what's a good lead for the person that I'm talking to, because if I do that, they're never gonna forget me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's very rewarding too.
It's very rewarding, yes, you really feel good. And I have a client right now, and she's the CEO of a construction company, and I ran into somebody I knew over lunch somewhere. I hadn't seen him in a while, and he said, "Well, we gotta get together." And next thing you know, I have her sitting with him, this is coming up in a week, with the head of construction for all the construction that's being done for the new United Airlines at Newark Airport.
Wow.
This is huge for her.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
and it's like, just keep connecting people, and eventually they're going to be successful and you're going to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So, I'm curious how you're different from an HR department. So,
I'm
tell me
sorry,
about
HR
that.
people, but because I did place a lot of you as HR contractors, but you guys are gatekeepers and you're politically correct.
Yes.
And I'm not.
No.
Meaning, one of the reasons that people hire me into a company is I can say something to you as a coach.
Yes.
And this doesn't mean I'm going to demean anybody, or I'm not talking about that, but
No.
I can be very
You can
clear,
be direct.
very direct on what needs to change,
Yeah.
so that you keep your job, get a promotion in your job, or get better at your job.
Right.
So it's really funny that you asked that. So I think that a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot that they can change to better themselves, and HR can be a tremendous tool in that arena.
Yes.
But HR, they tend to, they're rule follow. Again, somebody has to be a rule follower.
Yes, absolutely.
But one of the things that we would look for very often with companies, they would say, we want an HR business partner. And those are hard to find, because those are the people that really understand their company's business, what makes it tick, what's going to make it successful, and not just, did Susie hand in her, and I don't mean to demean, but it's true. It's important that we have time cards handed in and that people do their things and performance reviews and everything else. But the difference between a mentor, I kind of think is what you're saying, a mentor is someone that you can find, let's say in life or in a company, that you admire, that you can align yourself with, and they're usually very busy, successful people, and they're more than willing to help you, but they're not executive coaches who actually hold you accountable, who give you metrics, and those are the kinds of things that I do to make sure that we talked about some things that you're working on and metrics that you could use in your business, right?
Yeah.
So that's what a coach does versus a mentor who wants to push you, wants to show you the way, lead you down the road, but they're busy doing their job many times. So they're good role models,
Right.
but they're not executive coaches,
Right.
or career coaches, if
Yeah.
you will.
And so I want to talk about your books. So now, and you're also in the works in another book, right?
Right, so anybody who's listening who can come up with the third
She's
title.
looking for a name.
I'm looking for a name. It's got to be Dude Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what's your butt.
Right.
Meaning, because I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But I can't do this, but I have this, but
Right.
this is, there's always a but.
There's
but,
always a but.
But if somebody out there, I really mean it, write to me at susan@susanascher.com, because what will your reward be? 6 months of coaching. I think
Oh
that's
my
a pretty
gosh.
good
Oh,
price
wow.
ticket. That's how valuable
That
it is
is
to me.
impressive. Guys, you better start working on that.
That's right.
I've got to work on that. Dude, seriously, it's not about you. Dude, seriously, get your ass in gear. I love these titles.
So what do we have to ask ourselves
Uh-huh.
to lead in the new millennium? Whether we are parents, whether we are teachers, whether we are executives, whether we are friends, we all have to be leaders. So I talk in the second book about my two favorite chapters would be reverse mentorship, which actually comes from Jack Welch and what he did in the early 90s when GE entered the internet age. He went immediately he realized, hey, this computer stuff is not going away. He went to his top executives, 500 of them, and said, I want you each to find yourself a young 20, 30 something who can take you into this new internet age. And they are going to be your reverse mentor. They're going to teach you the technology, and you're going to teach them what's expected at GE for them to rise through the ranks. So a lot of us, if we have children, we have them built in.
Right.
But if we're working in a company and we have a millennial in the group, let's not poo-poo them. Oh, they're millennials. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. Let's get those people invested in what we're doing, and let's reverse mentor each other.
Yeah,
Let's show them
absolutely.
what they need to be a good executive, and let's have them help us with our technology.
Right.
The second one, and Marci, this is huge, we touched on it in our initial meeting here,
Yeah.
is staying relevant. It's very easy to be relevant in your 20s and 30s and even 40s. Once you have your 20 or 25 years under your belt, if you haven't realized it, a lot has changed. And we realize that now with the internet, but even so, everything's changing. We talked about Sam's Club, and we talked about Amazon.
Everything's evolving
everything's
consolidating.
Right. And if you can't figure out your next step, and by the way, we have to remember, I just heard yesterday on the radio, people who are 30 years old now it was a retirement finance show, can expect possibly to live to 125 or 130.
Unbelievable.
So they're not going to have the same job.
No.
And if we live to be 100, are we really not going to just, cash it out and bang into a new field without really having a plan of what we have to do? So that's another thing that coaching does for people, is really helping them, transition. I do that in a mastermind that I run, and actually this Friday, which happens to be Groundhog Day, which we all know is where we keep doing the same thing over and over and nothing changes. So this Friday we're doing something very different than just talking about goals and everything. We're actually doing a vision board.
Okay.
So I would say to your folks out there, hey, get your magazines, get your glue, get your cardboard, and what is your vision for your life? And hang that somewhere where you see it every single day.
That's interesting.
And some of those things, hopefully all, but many of those things will start to become
they're
real.
reminders, right? Because I think we talk about or think about things that we'd like to do, but then it
Execute.
it's fleeting,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, because you're not executing those things,
Mhm.
and life takes over.
Right.
It gets a little bit in the way sometimes.
That's back to the book. That's why the but, you know. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
And you have a couple of events coming up. You have networking events you do, and you have an event next Thursday.
I do. I have a very exciting event with Judith Spires, who is the CEO of King's Markets, and she's our special guest. And we close the invites at we have 20 fabulous people coming. Hopefully 21. That would include Marci.
I hope I get to
And what we have is one person in every sort of category of business, from a partner in an accounting firm to a partner in a law firm to an entrepreneur to the CEO of this construction company. And it's a sit-down dinner, but it's really a networking event. And we go around the room. Judith will have probably 10 minutes to talk a little bit about herself because she's guest of honor. Everybody else will stand up and give their 30-second elevator pitch and then tell us what a good lead is for them.
Oh.
It's been phenomenal.
Wow.
So this was an invitation only to my clients and my sponsors, but normally I do it, and it's an open to my list. It's open to my list.
Yes.
And we had one recently at the Manor in West Orange. We had about 30 people there, and it was a fabulous evening, and a lot of people met each other. But what I do in the summertime is I turn that into course connections.
Yes.
So for newbies,
Yes.
or you could be a great golfer who just loves to network, but people starting off that really need to learn to swing a golf club, because we know what a great connection golf is for business.
Yep.
Are you a golfer?
I am not. My husband plays. I did try it out, but there's
It's a lot of patience.
Yeah. There's a lot of patience involved. So maybe one day.
Yeah. when this is on national television.
There you go. I'm going to dream big. I'm putting that board together.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I like the course connection and you creating that safe place for people to network. And maybe you're brushing up on your skills, or maybe learning, or you're very good and you're meeting each other, and it's just a comfortable environment.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's comfortable. It does revolve around going to a great place, because I think that your setting,
Yes.
it makes you feel good about yourself. And the people that, these are a lot of people that I've worked with or have sponsored me.
Yeah.
So they're very high quality people, very engaging people, and they really want to help. They're master networkers. When they go to an event and they meet somebody, they'll go right to, how can I help this person?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's really been a lot of fun. That's the most, that really is the fun part, to see how people are interacting. Not that it's not really fun coaching people, but when you actually see people developing their business and really becoming secure in making their presentations on a small scale, you know that they can take it to a much higher level.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you have courses, or you have, what do you have, workshops?
Oh yes, I do that too. I do that too. So one of the things, and I would say to your audience, we have a core of people, but we're floating. Sometimes we have 8 people, sometimes we have 6 people.
Right.
But our mastermind is for people who come together. A mastermind, while of course we network, it's not a networking event. It's coming in and saying, what are you struggling with? What have you struggled with in the last month? What are 3 things that are working well for you? 3 things that you need help on?
Yeah.
What are your goals for the month? And how are you going to get there? And how can we help you? And what ideas flow around and gel? And that takes place at the Park Avenue Club in Fawn Park. And this Friday we'll be doing it over lunch.
Yes.
And it's just every week. The session that we had in January, we were practicing our videotaping skills. So we took out a cell phone and we had go around the room, and everybody stood, and some of them are actually using it on their websites.
Well, it is so important. Video content is dire. You've got to be doing it right now.
Yeah. And so
and it's hard for people.
It's
a
hard.
lot of times.
And I made them sort of stick their toe in that, and hey, you can do this. And by the way, as we know, we're a society of not even goldfish anymore, because our attention span is now less than 8 seconds.
That's right.
So people, all they're going to look at is, oh, that's Marci. Oh yeah, okay, she sounds like she knows it. Okay, good, next.
Yeah.
And I was just at the theater on Saturday with my sister. Most of the shows you go and see now, they're an hour and 40 minutes with no intermission. And this is because people do not have an attention span to sit for 3 hours.
And I will tell you, I sit at those and I'm thankful.
Right, because we got to go have dinner. Yeah.
Oh gosh. So you also, I want to just bring up the accolades. I mean, you have
thank you,
some
Marci.
amazing accolades. So 4-time finalist for Ernst & Young's Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Small Business Person of the Year, New Jersey, Best 50 Women in Business, Top 25 Leading Women Entrepreneurs in the State of New Jersey. And most recently, as I just had said about Smart CEOs, 2017 Brava Award. You're also a proud member of the National Speakers Association and the Forbes Coaches Council. And that's an invitation-only organization, so very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so you are truly making a difference, and thankfully you've made this change in these books that you're writing.
Love it, and I love it because I'm with people again. I'm not, not that we don't need the internet, we absolutely do, and I do get a lot of business from the big black hole of the internet.
Yeah.
But there's something that, for me, to be close up and personal with someone is so meaningful, and it just, it's so beneficial for the person being coached, really.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us really benefit from learning because I think it's hard to network, to be social, to sell yourself, all these things that you're helping with.
Exactly, and the most successful people are lifelong learners.
Yes.
And so if you are not investing in yourself, you are not going to be ahead of the curve. It's just the way it is. You have, whether that means you're going to a great networking event, you're going to a conference, you're hiring a coach, you're coming on a show like this, whatever it is, it's really tough to go it alone.
Yeah, it
You
really
know, a lot
is.
of people, and there are times that you have to go it alone because you got to practice things. But then when you come to a spot where you can't see the vision for your next step, it's really important. Because like I even said with myself, with my own coach, when she said, "Don't you see?" No, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it, that's right.
And that was a very big investment in something really important, so I can speak
And
to
guys,
that.
I want you to listen to that. Invest in yourself. It's so important.
Yes.
So I want to just, one thing that you can finish with, for leaders to remember and for those looking for a job. Final thoughts for you.
For leaders, treat people the way you wish to be treated. Take people to places that they would not go by themselves. And those are my two things for the leaders. And what was the second question?
Those looking for a job.
Oh, and those looking for a job, well, you get one shot when you send something over the internet, and you get one shot when you have an interview.
It's been such a pleasure having Susan Ascher on the show, founder and CEO of the Ascher Group, and author of Dude, Seriously, It's Not All About You, and Dude, Seriously, Get Your Ass in Gear. And remember, get your submissions in. She's looking for a title for her third book. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.